All right, Science Flipping podcast listeners, as always, this episode is brought to you by Rocketly.ai. If you're looking for a seller lead generating system that has automation, an AI bot, and has sellers coming to you, then Rocketly.ai is your choice. Make sure you head over to the website, fill out an application, and schedule a demo now to see the power of Rocketly.ai. What is up, Science Flipping family? We are back with another incredible interview on this podcast. I have a new friend, someone who is absolutely an industry leader, and he is changing the game of how we are getting motivated sellers into our business. Drew Carrell at LeadZolo is here. What's up, my friend?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, you know, as you and I have been discussing, you have a history kind of in the tech space and YouTube and so on and so forth. And I think you saw a problem within our real estate space. And as always, you solve a problem and people are coming towards you. And so that is what you've done, bro. And so maybe give a little background on LeadZolo. I know my community at Science of Flipping, many people use you guys, and, you know, they have great success. And so talk to everyone about how to find more motivated sellers coming into their inbox, what you guys do, what's different about you guys, so everyone knows to go to LeadZolo.
Yeah, well, for sure. I love jumping into that. I think it's a lot to dissect there. So yeah, just jump into it. I think the difference between what we're doing and what everybody else is doing is like we're coming at this from the seller perspective, right? Like our perspective isn't about like how do we generate leads for wholesalers and do all this investing, all this kind of fun stuff. What our perspective is like, holy shit, like there's a lot of people who need this service. I didn't know what wholesaling or real estate investing or any of this stuff was. What I knew was there was like this huge group of people who were like genuinely in trouble with their homes. And they had a really hard time figuring out what that solution was. So for us was like,
for a second, let's rewind. How the hell did Drew Carrell get into this space?
Sure. Yeah, that's probably a better place to start. So a while, probably for the last 5 years, I've been working with my partner with his agency, which was called AdLag. And we ran YouTube ads for webinar funnels, influencers, some big names and stuff like that. It was really great. We were 100% focused on marketing, media buying. That was our gig. So we were, we had ad editors, we had actors, we had all that kind of stuff to create all these ads to drive all this, all this traffic for all these funnels. Then we had, just kind of out of nowhere one day, my partner's friend came to us and he was like, hey, can you generate leads for me? And he like kind of briefly explained what he did. I thought he was like some skeezy realtor trying to like screw people out of the deeds on their house. Like, it's like, oh yeah, we just need a contract. I sent him a DocuSign. I don't even see these people. And we're just like, what the fuck is this? Right. I was like, I have no, is this legal? Like, I'm so like unsure of it at this time.
Yeah.
So we went through this like phase of like, we had a little SWAT team. So we had some media buyers and stuff, create a funnel and all this kind of stuff to attract motivated sellers to get this guy some leads. And so we did that. It was kind of a funny story. We spent, tens of thousands of dollars to generate like 30 leads. And we were just like, well, fuck that, we're out of this. And then
cost per
no
astronomical.
But then Preston came back to us and we were like, thought we were going to break up because we were just like, man, we spent way too much money. We can't sustain this. And he was like, well, I just made $72,000 off of like 3 contracts. He's just like, so how about we just crank this shit up?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we were at, where we were just kind of like, oh, there's something here. What is this? And so we started looking into it. And I was just like, this is a whole side of the world I didn't understand, right? I was lucky that I personally hadn't gone through this, but like people are going through foreclosure. What do you do? People are inheriting a hoarder house 4 states over, and they can barely afford to pay their rent, and now they're going to deal with this taxes and bullshit over there, and they can't figure out how to do it, and they're just like, who can buy my house for cash? And I'm just like, wow, I guess like I didn't understand that there was this world, this whole world. And so it really pulled on my heartstrings in terms of like, okay, like how do we help these people? Like how do we just make it so there's just like, oh, I know what to do if I just need to get rid of my house? How do we cover an entire nation, essentially branding or whatever it might be, but where it's just like, oh, right? Like you don't know something, you go Google it. You know, you got to buy something, you go to Amazon. Like, how do we give these people a go-to place so they're not shopping around and like, I don't know, like getting in trouble, you know, losing their houses or whatever it might be. So that was the inspiration to come into it. And then
I think the reason why I believe that's so good and you have such good traction is because you didn't start the business just to go make money, right?
Yeah.
You actually found a real problem in the world. Right? Like legit, people have a hard time financially a lot of times and they have to sell their home. And many times in those scenarios, investors are the very best people for them because they can close quick, they can close cash. It gets them out of this pain in a minute, right? Versus, you know, a traditional buyer. So you came into the business and you were able to create a business that added value. And I see it time and time again because of my platform with these podcasts. The very best in the business, they don't go into business because of money. They go into business to add value to the marketplace. And when they do that, it takes off.
Totally. Yeah. And this is definitely what we've found. And, you know, we're known as the YouTube guys, but, you know, we try and we're now trying to like get away from this image because we don't want to be the YouTube guys. Like that's the second problem, right? The problem with this industry of wholesalers and investors is that as an industry as a whole, we don't understand marketing super well. Like we understand conceptually, like, oh, I need to put up some ads and do this and do that. But the problem is when you have an industry that's just like, we're not like 100% in on marketing. What happens is we're only chasing trends.
We're so like I tell people this all the time, right? I hire you because you're my tech wizard. Dude, I flip homes. I raise money. I rehab the damn thing and I either keep it or I flip it, right? Like, or I wholesale it. So yeah, that's why you hire a LeadZolo. That's why you have them. It's because, dude, I'm a caveman. You want me to go turn on or replace a light bulb? Can't do it, right? You want me to go put an ad on Google or YouTube? Literally, I just had a conversation with you today, right? Like, hey, bro, I'm going to need some help. And you're like, I got you, right? But that's the point. So keep going.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly like us for business too. Like, believe you me, it's so tempting for us not to get high on our own supply and like want to work these leads. But like, we know this is our lane. If we start venturing into sales, we're going to lose our shirt because it's just like, it'll take me 10 years to figure that out. Like it took me 10 years to learn the marketing side of it.
Yeah.
And so now on the marketing side of it, and this industry's, and again, I would say it's a bad way. I just mean like this industry is not at the level of like Coca-Cola, right? In terms of like understanding marketing. And not that I am either, but what I do know is that like us chasing fads and be like, oh, I only want direct mail leads because they're the best leads. And it's just like, or I don't like Facebook leads and I do like TikTok leads. And this is a lot of the conversation around, and a lot of like lead suppliers and aggregates and stuff like that. This is kind of how they brand around, right? Like I have SEO leads and they're great. I think it's all good and interesting, but at the end of the day, what I see with this kind of amateur approach to marketing is that people are missing the fact that like there's somebody in need, right? Mm-hmm. And when that person is in need, it's the same person that goes to the bathroom and goes from Facebook to TikTok to Google to YouTube and hits everything. So it doesn't matter where that lead was generated, so long as the lead is genuinely motivated and needs the service in which, you know, a wholesaler or an investor is providing. So when we kind of caught on to that, it was interesting for us because, again, what tipped us off with that is that everybody loves us because we're the YouTube guys. And we want to try YouTube leads because they're super high quality. And it's like, interesting. YouTube's not the high quality part. The high quality part is the messaging angles and the form and all this kind of stuff. But people are so attached to this YouTube thing. And we thought it was super interesting. And then it's just like, oh, and then there's this group of people attached to Facebook and this group of people that hate TikTok. And it's just like, oh, this group of people hate SEO. And it's like, how do you hate? It's like saying, I don't like water so long as it's in this Yeti cup. It has to be in my athletic greens bottle.
Yeah.
Right?
For glass.
Right. But it's just like at the end of the day, water's water. So for us, again, that was another major opportunity because all of our competitors are now siloing themselves, right? They're going, oh, I do SEO leads. Oh, I do this lead, or I do this lead. And it's fine in terms of them marketing themselves. But in terms of value to industry, like, no, like Amazon figured it out because they had everything, right? And so everything in their box, in their lane. Yeah. And so for us, it's just like, here's the opportunity. We can give every wholesaler everything in our lane. And for us, that's what exploded us because there wasn't this oh yeah, you can come in, but I only have 12 leads a day and 200 clients, right? It's like, no, we could turn it up. The more clients we have, the more we can turn it up. And then if we have, 400 clients in Phoenix and we're having a hard time getting volume in Phoenix, now I have a play where I can go in and buy up the local TV stations. I can buy up the local radio.
Do that. So this is what the audience wants to know. How are you different? Why is LeadZolo different than all the other PPL, pay per lead companies?
Yeah.
What separates LeadZolo?
Great. So starting with YouTube was definitely, and we still, I would say 50 to 75% of all our traffic still comes from YouTube. It's what we know. But this is exactly it. So because we have so many clients now, and I've always talked about this in terms of YouTube. All of our clients are helping us crowdsource, basically crowdfund the largest ad campaign out there. Like Open Door can't compete with us because we have so many clients and so much ad spend. So now we're able to take that and go, okay, if you are just going to buy up TV in Tampa, it's going to be super fucking expensive, right? But if I go buy TV, I can buy it anywhere, right? I can buy Tampa, Harris County, like basically all of Texas, basically all of Phoenix, everywhere where I have multiple buyers. I can now make this a huge area. I can go to a broker and go, I need TV in these 465 counties, basically, and I get a wicked deal. So I can now get my TV ad spend at half the price anybody else can because I have the buying power.
That's right.
Right? And that's what we're doing with LeadZolo that nobody else is doing. We're using our buying power as if we're one and going in and just kind of taking over. So TV, we haven't started. We're in the middle of negotiations, but TV is going to be next step. Like, we pulled an audit on our data, this is a few months ago. And so we had a bunch of data and a bunch of closing data and stuff like that. And, again, I'm not in your industry. I don't understand your industry, but I understand data. And it came back and it was like, oh, every lead that marked tired landlord was the highest converting in terms of to contract. And then also the highest in terms of dispoing in terms of assignment fees. Yeah. So dollar to dollar, tired landlord as a reason is highest converting, makes the absolute most money for everybody.
Wow.
So we found online publications for the American Apartment Association. So this is a company that's basically got an email list of 50,000 people who own anything from a duplex up to I think it's up to 20 doors or something like that.
Wow.
So we went and sponsored their newsletter. So now these are the highest converting leads. This is a small, because we have buying power. We can buy out their media basically on their newsletter for pennies on the dollar. Right. And so for us, it's relatively cheap. We're now filling our pipeline and giving our investors some of the highest converting leads. Yeah. And it's all because of the buying power. And so now we have that strategy, right? So now we're hiring somebody whose job it is to go find email lists of homeowners basically, or apartment building owners and stuff like that. So this is what we're able to do with our momentum.
If aliens abducted you, would they be impressed or disappointed by the leads in your CRM? Over 850 real estate investors are currently tapping into the goldmine of motivated seller leads from property leads. Guess what? They're not just twiddling their thumbs, they're closing deals left, right, and center. And their conversion rates are anywhere from 1 in 8 to 1 in 15 leads. Property leads are the masters of delivering top-tier inbound leads, think SEO and PPC, the kind that make your competition green with envy. And did I mention, they refund any spammy leads. Talk about a risk-free investment. The best part? You don't have to lift a finger. Every lead is immediately zapped straight into your CRM, phone, or email, and there are no missed opportunities. Why settle for lukewarm leads when you could be igniting your real estate success with property leads? Time to add some serious fuel to your fire. Head over to propertyleads.com/flip, FLIP, to unlock exclusive access to motivated seller leads in your markets. Just 5 minutes to set up your account. There's no excuse to delay. That's propertyleads.com/flip, FLIP.
I think this goes right back to know your lane, right? To that point, you could easily go get high in your own supply, contract deals, whatever. I'm better at that than you.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily go to Google, look up how to run Google and YouTube ads and be okay. You are the expert. right? And what you're now doing is what I actually encourage all of my students to do, which is being what I call dynamic, meaning be the whole tool belt. Don't be a hammer. Because if you are a hammer, everything is a nail.
Yep.
But if you're the entire tool belt, regardless of whatever you come up across, a screw, a nut, a nail, whatever it may be, you have the tool for the issue, right? And that's what LeadZolo is now doing is, yes, great. YouTube got you in the game and is your big 800-pound gorilla for the company. But you're, now looking at 50,000 tired landlords because of publication, because of a community of these individuals. Yeah, dude, just brilliant business move as a business, the founder of LeadZolo, just brilliant in my opinion.
Yeah, and we could dilute, right? Like we could take our capital, like we're saying, and go train a sales floor. But as stupid as that would be for me, in my opinion, it would be just as stupid for you to go and do what I'm doing, right? And that's kind of our mission, is to come in here and go like, guys, you don't need to do this. And because we sell our leads on a pay-per-lead model, obviously we have a markup on that so that we make profit and whatnot, but it's way cheaper on this pay-per-lead model than it ever would be if you're paying your retainer, plus you're paying ad spend, and I'm managing your ads. I've done that for years. I had a whole agency doing that, very successful agency, but it doesn't make sense for everybody. And what it does this way is everything being in one account, machine learning and the AI with Google ads and Facebook ads and everything. I now get to use all that. I get to use the weight of all that. It's like when we go to TV, right? Like everything's tracked in TV. I can feed the TV station it basically works the same thing as Facebook and Google. It's got a pixel, and TV can now track who's watching the TV versus who went to the website and signed up. And so now we're going to start training that pixel. And we get to use all the volume of all the other traffic, right? So like if I run YouTube traffic at a landing page, I can still have a Facebook pixel on that and tell Facebook that these are the right leads, even though it's not coming from them. Yes. So now it's like we can pre-train pixels on different platforms, and we're going to do that with TV and radio and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, that's where I belong. I do not belong talking to a GC about how to flip a house. Right. Hell no.
Right. You're the guy that goes and buys a turnkey rental, right? That's 100%. Where you need to be, 100%. Right? Path of least resistance. So for all these viewers here on YouTube, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, there's hundreds of thousands of people that are going to listen to this and see this. Who is your perfect client?
Yeah. So that's
targeting who reaps the biggest rewards. Maybe it's everyone. Maybe it's a certain segment of our space. Who is your perfect client?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we started this, we were selling 30 lead packages at $300 a lead on 1 month packages. So we were basically coming in at 10 grand a month. So we're only looking for people who are doing volume and doing a lot of deals and could really afford the service. Because the time our cost per lead was like $300. Like we had to sell for $300. Now, since we've grown and we have bigger areas, our cost per lead has come down. So instead of us being more wildly profitable, what we've done is just reduce our cost per lead to try and open this up to to anybody who's just starting out. So now you can come and you can buy one lead from us at $200 at the time of this recording. That could be different anytime in the future, but so anybody who wants one or two leads can do that. And so we're seeing a lot of success with that. What we're actually seeing is the bigger guys who want a ton of leads are actually having a hard time getting as much volume as they can from us because we have so many people in the platform, because we're making it as even as possible. We're doing a round robin. You get a lead in the same way that I get a lead. And so it's really, really, really great for these new investors to come in. They have their perfect buy box. They've just, spent 6 weeks with somebody like you. They know what they want in terms of property and where they want it and how to talk to a seller. And now they can just come in and guarantee conversations. And they can just basically come in, get a lead, guaranteed conversation. And then whenever they want their next conversation, they put more money on the platform and get their next one.
So I've been talking about you so much over the last 45, 60 days. I'm sure some of my people, because you can go buy one lead at a time. Yeah. Right. And the thing that has always been difficult is someone like myself can go hire an agency and give them a $300 or $3,000 a month retainer. And that's not the marketing, that's the retainer to run the ads. I could do that at my position in life right now with business. But the newer individual, a lot of the people that I'm coaching, they're like, well, Justin, that's cool that you can do that. What do I do? Because I need to, I don't have that kind of cash right now. So this is a perfect segue for me to just simply sell you without you selling you. And everyone needs, at minimum, go to LeadZolo.com. You can spell it right there in the background, LeadZolo. Go check them out, right? Regardless of the market, whether you are in Phoenix, which I would argue is probably the most difficult market in the nation, is my point. I don't know if you agree with that, but
I do.
Or if you're in Oklahoma City, right? You can buy leads anywhere. And so now that you said that, do you think the Phoenix is the hardest market? I debate this all the time because I spent over a decade I call it a gunfight. Like, that is not a dog fight. It's not a fist fight. It's not a knife fight. That is a gunfight every single day.
Yeah. I would say there's 3 on the top of my mind. And again, my perspective is just data in terms of like me and Robert Wensley talk about this. Robert from Investor Lift. Yeah. We talk a lot. We're just data nerds, right? So I know where our paths cross in terms of where I have the most investors looking for leads and he sees the most volume in terms of dispo on the back end. There's 3 markets that really just kind of hit it right on the head. Well, 4 actually, now they say it. Phoenix, I think is number 1. I just have an affinity to Phoenix. I have business partners out there. I love it. I go there like every other month. I just personally love it. I have so many investors there, and there's a ton of deals going through Investor Lift there. The second, I think it's got to be like Raleigh in like NC, North Carolina.
Charlotte?
Or Charlotte. Yeah, maybe it's Charlotte. It's that area.
Really hard right now.
Yeah, so many investors. Investor Lift is doing a lot of dispo, so it's like, again, it's not a knife fight, it's a gunfight there. Yep. And then the other 2 I'm doing 50-50 would be like Florida and Texas and like some like sub areas of those. So like Tampa's tough. And then Texas, like it's the DFW area is just like rocking and rolling. I feel like 85 of investors live in Dallas-Fort Worth. Like I really do. I feel like everybody I talk to says they're from Texas.
Yeah. And I'm spending a lot of time in this. I know it to be true because I want to buy as much as I can in the Dallas area, DFW, Dallas. Like,
why is that?
Because people want to live there. I mean, you take just the standard economics, right? Like, hey, where are people moving? They're leaving New York. They're leaving California. They're going middle of the country. I mean, I literally, I live in Miami, very expensive city. We have a potential opportunity to move back to Scottsdale and cost of homes in Miami, cost of homes in Scottsdale, like relative to a Dallas, you can get so much more home. Not even close. Not even close. Like, you could spend $750,000, which will cost you $1.8 million in Scottsdale.
Really?
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. Not even
so. Then let me ask you. I got to spend some time asking you some questions here because I think you're the perfect person for it. So then, why is there so much interest in Phoenix and Scottsdale?
Well, because if you get a deal, it'll sell.
Wow, the assignment fee is like triple. It's like I don't have a lot of people in Cali, but the people who are in California fucking love California.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I literally got the phone with a partner last week, and he had a $200,000 assignment fee on a deal in California.
I have never done a $200,000 assignment. I've never, right? But I think done good.
I was just gonna say, I think between everybody involved and it got chopped up, I think he ended up netting like 165 after. I think he had to pay a finder's fee and stuff like this, but it's just like, oh no,
Right. No, and so that is really important. Again, you're being diverse. You're following the trends. Where can I get more leads? How can I reduce the cost? You're thinking about the customer first. You're not just trying to line your pocket. And what I think everyone wants is actually motivated seller leads. Yeah. Versus just leads in general, right?
Yeah.
And so, what are you seeing the KPIs to be? That's an industry term. I'm assuming you know the term, but how many leads to a deal? And maybe it's state specific, maybe it's region specific, or maybe you have so many clients, you're able to say, as a median number, if you get this many leads, you should be getting a deal.
Yep. So I legally have to say this, that these are, I will tell you numbers told to me. I cannot say that I have verified and have a picture of every HUD. So let me just throw that out there for compliance sake.
That's right.
It's a scary time these days.
Oh, no doubt.
So RJ works nationwide leads. And he's, and like, I'll be honest, like we give RJ the leads that we can't sell. So like RJ is not like primo sniping areas or anything like that. RJ has a 1 in 7 to contract ratio. So 1 in 7 leads, he has a contract on. Will he dispose? I don't know his dispo percentage, and it is tough because he's taking leads out in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
And so like his company has to spend a lot more time working on the dispo side of things because he's just crushes it on the front end. But he's got 1 in 7 to contract now, and I think that's phenomenal. Now I have
for a second, because in our industry, there's one of two things, and most people think it's a lead issue, but the other component is a sales issue, right?
Yes.
Are you actually good at negotiating a deal? Are you actually good at running comps or in analyzing a deal to get to the right number that works? So everyone's like, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need this company sucks. So that no. How many? I say this to my students all the time. How many leads do you have in your CRM? I have 148. Okay, how many offers did you make today? None. How about this week? None. Well, this isn't a lead thing right now. You have 148 leads that you need to be working.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that. I'll talk about conversions a little bit more, but it's interesting you say that. So we get, and again, being fully transparent for everybody to hear, like we get a lot of disputes, right? Because we absolutely allow people to dispute leads. Like it's on the MLS. You shouldn't have paid for that. Hell no. Send that back to us. Let's give you a new lead. Or it's a mobile home or something like that. But we'll get people who dispute it saying that the person wanted retail. And it's just like, yeah, every person wants retail.
That's right.
I like everybody, but your job is to have that conversation with them to see if they value that retail dollar over the timeline it'll take for them to list it and get it. So I find that kind of interesting in terms of the sale, and I think you and I could riff on that for a while. And I think I need to have you on my podcast to help educate my guys a little bit more. But I think that's super interesting, that perspective. Conversion wise, I have a company in Dade County. Is that Florida?
Yep, that's right.
Dade.
Miami-Dade.
There's group 3 of them. They're phenomenal. I just met them at a mastermind, actually, in Boardroom Mastermind, which I think you're a part of.
Yeah.
So they're begging me. They were begging me. They said they'll pay double the leads. They don't give a shit because 1 in 5 of the leads that they get, now again, it's in their backyard, but 1 in 5 of their leads are converting to contract. Like they get in their car. Like if somebody doesn't answer on the first ring, they answer, text, call, whatever the theory might be. They call, text, no answer. They drive to the fucking house and knock on the door. They're not screwing around, right? And it's just, they do such a good job. But I will say there's the other side of things too, right? There are hard areas like Detroit. You're not going to get 1 in 5 or 1 in 7. Some of them aren't worth it, and some of them are tough. And there are areas that you need a little more volume before you start getting contracts.
Well, and to the point, I'm more of an RJ. I go national. And when I say national, I'm buying in Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, Florida, so I'm not fully national. I'm not buying in North Dakota. But I say that to just say, I would rather lead volume and let my salesmen speak for themselves versus the other model, which is the gentleman you're talking about in Boardroom, right? Which I'm aware of. I love that. I get it. I taught how to go belly to belly, and it has such a higher conversion, but there's also a limit of how many you're going to be able to get relative to national, right?
Yeah.
So, I want to let my negotiating skills speak for me personally, and I will get the low-hanging fruit, which is great, but then like everything else, you get paid for the value you provide. So if you get the one that's a tough nut to crack, but you get it, you have a strong assignment fee or a great flip or a great, rental, because I just let the salesmanship speak for itself.
Yep. And Josh and Tiff are like that. Like Josh and Tiff would rather go deep than wide. That's just, and they know that. So
because they own Columbus, right? Which is great.
100%. Yeah. Nobody's touching Columbus.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are some parting words? I mean, obviously everyone needs to go to LeadZolo, 100%. Go check them out. Get a lead or two and just understand the quality, because there is a massive difference than a cold calling lead or texting lead and an online lead, right? There's just a massive difference. And I think that could be part of the parting words that we discuss, is just this idea of quality of lead. And I will tell you, the very best leads I've ever gotten are twofold. Online form fills. I don't care if they came from YouTube or Google or TikTok or any form fills, and direct mail. The challenge with direct mail these days, your callback ratio is like 0.25%. So you got to spend your way there, baby. So if you send 10,000 mail pieces, you're getting 25 total calls. You better convert. Yeah. So let's talk to that point. quality of lead and things of that nature.
I think Wensley like nailed it on the head. One of the first conversations I ever had with him years ago. And he said of any wholesaling company that he knows of that's doing $5 million plus per year, right? So over like damn near $500,000 a month, 400 or whatever it might be, 90% of their marketing budget is on inbound digital leads, right? It's all anybody needs to know, right? So if you're starting on your first deal, like we now know that if your goal is $5 million a year, your job is to ascend to inbound, is to, like, I get it, like to start, you're going to be doing cold calls and all this kind of stuff. And it's really important to do some of those things to get your chops. But if your goal is to ascend to inbound, what you should be focusing monomanically on every single day is how the fuck do I get one step closer to that, right? And I think that people get lost in that. Yep. And what we've allowed everybody to do at any stage in their journey now is to just step into it with a very low commitment. You can step in and buy one lead and just be like, okay, I cold call for a week. And, I went door knocking like Justin said, but it's Tuesday. I'm going to drop $200 and have a conversation with a real friggin' human today and go and realize that I am building a business. I'm not just trying to be a salesperson.
That's right.
And that's what people need to separate. And when you realize that you're not just trying to create a job for yourself and become a salesman, what you're trying to do is build a fucking business and be a business owner. That's when you realize, I need A players. I need an A player sales team. I need an A player in HR and human and company culture, and an A player in marketing. And what we've just like cut that arm off and gone, you don't have to worry about that. You can come, you can pay $200, which is probably less than you would pay for a lead in most areas. Like go to SoCal, you won't get a click for $200, let alone a lead. So if you're in California, like it's just a complete no-brainer to come on the platform. But we've just allowed every single person at any level to come in and enter the game in a very smart way, in a way where you're not wasting time, right? Learn to build a business. Don't learn to, call old lead lists and all that old crap. That's my...
listen, there's two things you're going to spend: time or money.
Yeah.
So for newer people, money can be a little more difficult, but $200 a lead is the lowest lead cost you're going to be finding, right? And so let's just even say that can be a little tough. Then generate some leads and get a deal and start getting better leads in, right? There's iterations to the business, to your point, where your whole point should be getting up to the level where you have the most valuable lead possible. Because then you don't have to necessarily have the best salesperson on the planet necessarily, because the leads are so motivated, you can convert them even if you're not even a salesperson. And that's what LeadZolo can do for you. So
absolutely. And even for people who have large companies, we're not going to be the cut off all your marketing and just spend with LeadZolo. Absolutely not. Add us to your stack. I dare anybody listening to this who's paying for marketing elsewhere, just add us. Just add us in and then run a report 2 months from now. Even come buy 3 leads a week from us and then run a report in a few months and see how we stack up. Like, there's no retainer, there's no setup fee, there's none of that crap that everybody else charges. So I challenge you.
LeadZolo, see how we stack up. I love it. That's the ad. Everyone, and by the way, you're talking real shit because you can deliver, right? And bro, I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited for LeadZolo to be growing. My community loves you at the Science of Flipping. There's a lot for us to be doing. There's no doubt.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to bring you into ours as well. Like, it's going to be fantastic. And that's another pro to being a LeadZolo customer, is that you get great people like Justin, we're going to bring on to help make everybody better, be a better salesperson. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Well, brother, thank you so much. Make sure everyone goes to LeadZolo.com. Again, compare them against everything else you guys got going on, right? Yeah. Start with 1, go to 10, go to 100, whatever it is. LeadZolo.com. Drew, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for coming by. The Science of Flipping.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate being on, man.
There, bud.